And now we're going to hear from Holly Tse, who is a Chinese reflexologist expert. So Holly is a best-selling author and the founder of ChineseFootReflexology.com. That is the premier English language website on Chinese reflexology with readers from 200 countries worldwide. Holly teaches people how to heal themselves with the art of Chinese reflexology and the mind-body connection. I was very fortunate to get Holly's work hands-on before we had to shelter at home. And she taught me enough, and I got her book. And I am already doing stuff, very simple stuff. And I was blown away. Also, Holly has a background in high tech. So in addition to being an expert on healing and Chinese reflexology, she's also a very logical, high-tech type thinker. So I think it's going to be quite a treat, and I'm very excited to bring up Holly Tse. Holly, thank you for being here with us.
Hey, Adiel, thanks so much for having me. I haven't noticed the focus switching on to me, so maybe you could just confirm
Focus is on you, I can tell you.
Oh, okay, all right, maybe it's just for some reason, I'm just showing you. Okay,
I can see it as the host, I can see
Oh, okay, all right, great. Thanks so much for having me, and it's great to connect with people today. So I'm going to share with you about Chinese reflexology. I've got some slides to share with you, so I'm just gonna turn off my video and pop up the slides right now. I'm gonna start with a question. This is actually a quote, and the quote is, "Reflexology, isn't that where they rub your feet? How is that going to help me?" Now, my question is, who said that? Was that a former coworker, somebody I worked with? Was it a good friend? Was it Adiel? Or was it my mom? So who do you think said that? A, B, C, or D? Now, I'm going to tell you who actually said that. Now, these are actual words that I have heard. And the answer was none of the above. Do you know who actually said that? It was me. So as Adiel said, I used to work in high tech. I worked in Silicon Valley. I worked in high tech for over 10 years, and it was extremely stressful. I was overworked, I was underappreciated, really tight timelines, a lot of micromanagement going on, and quite frankly, I hated my job. But being Asian American, I kind of had that mindset that I had to do the right thing, and I really felt obligated to stay in my quote unquote good job. I was working in Silicon Valley. A lot of people aspire to that. So who was I to think that that was not good enough for me? I was going to just stick it out even though it was making me miserable. But the thing was not only was it making me miserable, it was like affecting my health. And I had this feeling that I should be doing something else, something more meaningful than building websites. And when you're doing something, you're not, it's not the right thing for you. You kind of get like a little nudge from the universe saying, hey, this isn't the right thing. And at first the nudge, it's like, it's kind of subtle. It's like this feeling you should be doing something else. Then it starts to get louder when you ignore that. And I was really good at ignoring it. I must have ignored it for over 10 years. So of course, the universe has to, make those messages stronger. And that's when it starts to be like a sledgehammer. So what happened to me was that working in high tech in this high stress field, I experienced what I refer to as my year of illness. So by that, it was like I got weird ailments and infections one after the other. I remember getting eye styes, getting bladder infections where I was passing blood. I had weird things going on with my head and reproductive system, all sorts of things. And I visited the hospital emergency room 3 times in 1 year. Just because of all these things that kept happening, like in middle of the night, had to passing blood. I was like, oh, better go to the emergency room. And when I had all those tests and things done on me, the doctors, they did the typical blood work and stuff, and they said, according to this, you're really healthy. But I knew I wasn't, because I had never felt so ill and like lacking in resilience. And I felt like I was fading in and out of my own life. So kind of like, when you watch TV and they have like the ghost character that's kind of transparent and you see them kind of fading in and out. That's what I actually felt with about my own life. And it was kind of scary in that my life felt so meaningless at that time because I was under so much stress and I wasn't doing what I was passionate about, that I actually didn't really care, that I felt like I was fading in and out of life. And it was like, because I didn't care, that's actually what made me care, because it was kind of shocking. I'm like, I could be dying here, but I don't really care. So it was that I didn't care that shocked me into caring. And you know what? My boyfriend, who's now my husband, he said to me, why don't you go see my Chinese reflexologist? And by Chinese reflexologist, he meant somebody who practiced the reflexology, the Chinese style of reflexology. And that's when I said to my husband, isn't that where they rub your feet? Like reflexology, isn't that where they rub your feet? How is that going to help me? So I was totally skeptical. So quite ironic, since I'm here with you now talking about Chinese reflexology. So let me tell you what happened. I went to go see the Chinese reflexologist, and I went twice a week. And I was getting all these points massaged on my feet. And I'll talk a bit more about what reflexology is too, if you're not that familiar with it. But basically, it's like if you don't know any better, you think it's just a foot massage. But anyway, I was getting these points on my feet massaged twice a week. So, foot massage. And you know what happened? My health began to stabilize. And as my health started to stabilize, I decided that I wanted to start learning about this. So I started studying Chinese reflexologist from this Chinese medicine doctor who practiced this art of Chinese reflexology. And within 1.5 years of learning the complete system of Chinese reflexology, so I went into it feeling like I was fading in and out of my life. And then within 1.5 years of learning the complete system and practicing on myself, my health was fully restored, and I was actually training for my very first triathlon. So I saw like this incredible transformation in my health and vitality just from massaging my feet. And that's why it is my passion to empower you so that you can heal yourself too, so that whatever is going on, you have these tools, this knowledge available to you to help tap into your body's natural healing process. So you're going to learn in my presentation today, I'm going to share with you the most beneficial point, the most beneficial Chinese reflexology point for supporting the lungs. You do not need to go out and buy anything special. It does not take a lot of time. It is easy to learn and easy to practice. You don't have to set aside, a half hour a day. You can even do it while you're watching a video on your computer. You can do it while you're watching TV. You can do it while you're relaxing in bed. You don't even have to leave your home, which is the perfect thing right now. So before we begin, as Adiel has been pointing out, with the information we're sharing, the information in this presentation is for educational purposes only and should not be used as a substitute for proper medical advice or treatment. So please use common sense. If you or a loved one is sick, please contact or see your doctor. So I am going to start first. We're going to get started with some basics about Chinese reflexology, because you may be thinking like I did, like reflexology, how is that going to help me? How does it work? So I'm going to explain that to you right now. So Chinese reflexology is the ancient healing art of foot massage, and it is based on the principle of qi. This is a Chinese medicine concept where qi is your life force energy. So Chinese reflexology helps to strengthen and balance your qi. So if you're familiar with Western style reflexology, the Chinese style is different in that this is based on principles of traditional Chinese medicine. And Chinese medicine is a healing art that dates back over 2,000 years ago. So the way that this works from a Chinese medicine perspective is that your body has energy pathways flowing through it. So it's very similar to your circulatory system, where you have a system for circulating blood throughout the body. Well, you also have this system for circulating energy. And when energy is flowing smoothly, then your body is functioning well. You're experiencing wellness. What if there's a disruption to the flow of energy? If, like, say, there's not enough energy or if it's not flowing smoothly, then this can lead to dis-ease in the body because qi, this life force energy, helps to move the physical substances in the body. It helps to move the blood. It helps to move lymph through the lymphatic system. It helps to get the air flowing through your lungs, the food flowing through your digestive system. So when there is a disruption to the energy, this can then translate into disruption at the physical level if it is not addressed at the energy level. Now, how Chinese reflexology works is that these energy meridians that are circulating throughout your body, they are also running through your feet. And so your feet contain these master control points for balancing, strengthening, and harmonizing this energy, this qi flowing throughout your body. So it's like a way to connect to these energy meridians. And different reflexology points on your feet will correspond to different areas of your body. And the way to then get the qi flowing through the meridians smoothly and abundantly is you want to be massaging the reflexology point because it helps improve the flow of qi, which helps improve the flow of blood to the area. Now here's a diagram. You can just imagine, like if you look at the blue outline, you see a body superimposed on top of a couple of feet. So it gives you a general idea of where reflexology points are located on your feet. So you can see there's a whole bunch here on this slide. Now, when we look at this slide here, like if you look up at the top where the head is pointing to the big toes, you see how then that points for the head, the brain, the nose, the face, they're all located on the big point, pardon me, on the big toe. Now, as we move down, like we go to the shoulders, they're underneath the pinky point, much like how this outline has the shoulders underneath the pinky toe there. And as you go down onto the soles of the feet, that's where a lot of those vital organs in the abdominal cavity are. And as you go lower, then we get to like the knees, the legs and the hips, those areas of the body. So they'll be closer down to the heel of the foot. Now, from a Chinese medicine perspective, I want to share with you the perspective on colds and viruses so that you can understand how knowing the Chinese reflexology lung point can help protect you from colds and viruses and also help you recover more quickly. So the TCM, traditional Chinese medicine perspective, is that your body is sensitive to nature. And then there's all these things going on in nature that can, quote unquote, invade the body. So the idea that there are these external pathogens, but that your body is also affected by elements like cold and wind and dampness. So when some of these elements like wind invades the body, it's considered this external pathogen that invades the body, and then that can then lead to the cold or the virus. So Western perspective on external pathogen would be like germs, basically. Now, because the body is connected with nature, that means we're sensitive to changes in the seasons. So when the temperatures are changing, so we're going from winter to spring, or we're going from summer to fall, there's a lot of change in the weather patterns. And you may notice too, like as weather patterns are fluctuating, one day it's hot, one day it's cold. It's like, in a way, it's like confusing to the body. The body doesn't know, should it be open to the heat, start opening up to cool down, or should it stay sheltered because it's cold? And the other thing happening too is when the seasons are changing and the temperatures are fluctuating, you may notice, you're going to start noticing this now that I pointed out, when there's a big change from one day to the next, it's always going to be accompanied by wind, and wind is considered uh, quote unquote a pernicious influence in Chinese medicine. So one of those things that can make you sick. Now, so when the cold is, it's happening more often with the change in the season, the changing temperatures, the body's quite confused, then it becomes easier for this cold or this wind to invade the body, and that's what leads to a cold. Now, the Chinese perspective on like a common cold is that, it's very superficial. It's not something that gets deep in the body. They consider it something like external, and like an external illness, like it came in from outside, but it's not deep in the body. So it's much better to treat the cold early at the, initial stages when it's considered quote unquote superficial, because that prevents it from becoming a quote unquote internal condition. So this is where it gets deeper into the body. So for example, like if somebody starts off with like a sniffle or sore throat, and then if it isn't addressed with in the early stages, then it can get what Chinese medicine considers like more, it turns from an external to an internal condition, going deeper into the lungs, and then leads to a much more serious illness. So it's really, really important to strengthen your lung qi, because that boosts what's referred to as your wei qi, WEI. So wei qi is like your defensive qi. It helps, the lungs are said to disperse this wei qi to the surface of the body, and it's like it forms a protective barrier against the invasion of these external pathogens. And when you're strengthening the lung qi, it helps supports the lung, the actual organ, but also when I say lungs, it refers to the energy meridian associated with the organ. So when you strengthen that, then the body is, it's like you're supporting the body's natural healing processes, making it more fortified in order to defend itself against external pathogens. So moving along, I want to share with you then the lung reflexology point, because of all the points on your feet, if you're looking for something to help fortify your body against these external pathogens, things like colds and viruses, this is going to be probably the most important point, because the lungs are, from a Chinese medicine perspective, they're kind of like with the wei qi, the WEI qi, forming this protective barrier. It's like your first line of defense. So the lung point, I'm going to walk you through on some slides, and then I'm going to pop back up my video just to demonstrate for you. So the way to locate this point is it is on the ball of your foot, and you've got one on your left foot and your right foot. So it's going to be on the sole of the foot. And the left foot is for the left lung, and the right foot is for the right lung. And it's kind of like that diagram that I showed you, where you saw the head was near the top and the feet, the knees were down at the bottom of the sole. So the upper portion of the lung area is more for the bronchi, the upper portion of the lungs, and the lower portion of this reflexology area is for the lower, deeper part of the lungs, like where the alveoli sacs are. So what I'm going to do is I'll walk you through on the slides, and then I'll actually show you how to massage it. So what you want to do is you want to have your fingers wrapping around to support your foot, and you're going to press in with your thumbs and massage in small circles as you make your way up and down and across the point. Obviously not going to show you my foot, because that would be very awkward to do and not easy to demonstrate. But what I do have is I have this blue plastic foot here. So, originally it was a peach color, and then it reflected too much light. People couldn't see it. Then I tried painting it brown, only I had this reddish brown, and it looked like a kind of a gory foot. So that's why it's blue. Anyhow, so to locate this point, it's going to be primarily under these 3 middle toes here. It's going to be a rectangular area. It's going to be located on the ball of the foot. So the ball of the foot under these 3 middle toes. And what you want to do, what I was saying, is you're wrapping your foot. So I'm going to turn around. You're going to wrap, you're going to wrap your fingers around your foot so that you're supporting your foot. Because if you didn't have it there and you're pressing, your foot's going to be flapping around in the air. So you wrap your fingers around your foot, and then you take your thumbs, and then you can press into the point. So there's 2 ways to do this. You can press and massage in small circles. I'm going to show you on my palm because there's obviously more give in my palm than there is on a plastic foot. So here's my palm. Hang on, let me get it in the camera. Press, so you can press and massage. So you want to press hard enough that you feel it, but you don't want to be straining your thumb. And one other trick too is that when you are pressing in, rather than just using your thumb, that's a lot of work for the whole area since it's a large point. You want to think about keeping your arm straight, your wrist straight, and your thumb is kind of like connected all like one line. And then you're pushing in more by leaning in your body weight. So let's go back to our plastic foot. And you're just going to press, and you're going to make your way, like doing these small circles, pressing and massaging, making your way across and down the point. So if you're old enough to remember typewriters, just think of it like you're going down, across, down, and back the other way. And then you can do that. What I would recommend is massaging that lung point for, say, about 60 seconds, just using your fingers to press into the point, doing 60 seconds on your left foot and doing 60 seconds on your right foot, and doing that once a day. It's like a really good way, sort of like a general, health maintenance thing to keep your lung qi circulating and strong, which is really, really supportive for helping the lungs, the organs, as well as the meridian to keep things strong and to have that barrier of wei qi protecting you. Now, massaging this point is also beneficial for if you do get a cold, like you're in the early stage, you start massaging this point, and there's some other points that I'll tell you a little bit more about in just a second. But massaging a combination of points that then helps your body to fight off the cold or whatever respiratory illness that you have. So this doesn't replace proper medical care and treatment, but it's just another thing that you can do in addition. It's a way to give your body a boost. So there you can see where the lung point is on your foot. And I just want to share because people have questions that I do have. So you can try it right now. You can do your left foot for 60 seconds and do your right foot for 60 seconds. And for those of you who are interested in learning more, I do have a resource page on my website, ChineseFootReflexology.com/resource, where I have like a routine 5 points to help you recover from a cold more quickly. It's good for cold recovery and prevention. I've heard from so many readers how when they catch a cold, they do the routine. It helps them get better faster. I've heard of people getting better faster in 3 days where it might normally take them 10 days, or how they're on the verge of getting sick and they do the routine and then they end up actually staying healthy. So that's a resource that you guys can check out, ChineseFootReflexology.com/resource. And then if anyone has any questions, we have a few minutes if there's any questions. So I'll just take a look at the chat here. I don't see any. Sure, Adiel always has questions for me.
I sure do. And so
Okay, awesome.
the reason I didn't jump in so quickly is because please excuse me while I put my socks back on.
Oh, you're doing your feet, great.
I was inspired by your talks, and I was doing all the points you showed me before. And now, when I was finished with those, you showed us the lungs, so I was doing those. And here comes my first question from doing it right now. And my question is this. So I was doing all the other points that you showed me, which I love. I try to do them every other day, or some of them every day. Just for a few seconds, I noticed remarkably that it made a difference. I do have to make the comment that when Holly and I met, and she gave me the entire body You know, she did all the points on my body. I slept for the next 2 or 3 days like I never did before. It was unbelievable. So clearly, it has a strong effect. Here's my question. When you came to teach us about the lung point, I was already done with the other points you had shown me, including the kidneys, which are right there in the middle of the foot and they're a little hard to press. So when I got to the lung point, my thumbs were tired,
Mm.
and I tried to switch fingers, but I felt like I'm not used to it. This is not what I do on a daily basis. My fingers and that were a little tired. Now I remember when you did it, you used a stick, and I know you made it clear that if you use the stick, it could be too hard, too much, too fast, too soon. But if somebody wants to really get going and do it on a daily basis, how do I avoid this experience I just had when I finally got to the lungs point? They're located at the place on the foot, on the ball, where you do have to kind of press a little bit. Can we use a stick?
Okay. No, you cannot use a stick because, by the way, I have one here. I'll just show people. The reason why is because the stick is so hard and it really powerfully moves the chi and blood. And there are points where you do not want to be pressing with the stick if you haven't learned how yet, because it's so strong, you can actually be moving chi the wrong way, or you could be rubbing the wrong point. So it's something that I teach in my 6-month program. And I know a lot of people want to be like, yeah, but it seems so simple. That's the thing about the Chinese reflexology. It's very deceptively simple, but it's really, really, really powerful, which is why it's so important to, have respect for how it works. Because like I remember when I studied Chinese medicine and I learned about, oh, these are herbs are really good to help, strengthen your chi. And then I was like, oh, I've seen my dad cooking herbs. I'll just make my own. And no, that was not a good idea because you don't know what you don't know. And I ended up giving myself insomnia for 3 weeks because it's strengthened the chi, but it was called raising the yang, and it brought it all up to the head, which disturbed my sleep. So people can experience like a lot of pretty strong detox symptoms. They can over massage and cause calluses to rub because the times for the gentle method are not the same as with the stick. But if you are finding your hands are tired, like like I said, you really need to, you're not moving the thumbs so much. Like this is what you see because I'm trying to demonstrate. It's like you're leaning in with your body. Like think about like you're like a rowing machine. So then this is straight, and then it's more like you're pressing in, and you just do a small movement. The other thing too is um, like since you do have my book, like there are some core routines there. If you follow the routines, like for some people, it's a lot of points to
Holly,
massage.
I'm sorry. Somebody asked me a
Oh,
question here
okay.
while you were showing it. Show me how you lean in with your arms instead of just your.
Oh, okay. So used to take martial arts. So you want to keep, like, when you throw a punch, these two fingers are aligned with the wrist, and the wrist isn't like this, and it's not like this, it's straight. So you think of the same concept, almost like your arm is like a boomerang going into your thumb. And the way you lean in, then, instead of just, see, sometimes people are like with doing this with their hands, but you think of your whole body leaning in. So I think it might be messing up my focus on my camera, but it's like this. So you lean down into your foot, and then that's how you can apply the pressure without doing so much working your fingers and thumbs. Now, when you have like more points to massage, in my book, I actually split it into 2 routines that people can do every other day. So you don't need to be massaging every single day. It's kind of like you can sit down and do, the routine like twice a week. That's like my general recommendation, just because it does take time for the body to bring itself back into balance. So, if you're doing it every day, if it starts to feel like too much for you, then you start skipping and not doing it, or maybe you make your thumb sore, and then you have to stop and rest. Better to take like a balanced approach, because it's like like somebody being pregnant, you can't rush the pregnancy, you know, take all these supplements and courses and do the pregnancy in 1 month. It still takes that time.
Holly, thank you so much. Very, very, and I have to share, I was doing the points while I was listening to you, and I'm standing here, I'm standing right now, and my feet both feel kind of warm and wider, kind of almost like this
Yeah,
feeling.
like spread out.
Yeah, spread out. It's very, very, very fun. Holly, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Uh, thank you. Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome.